What is the one trait above all else that will determine if Cam Ward is successful or not? I believe he has it. We're going to find out if Justin Melo does too, and we're going to talk about some other things to watch in this upcoming Titans-Jaguars game. This is the Music City Audible. Let's get to it. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible podcast presented by Sinkers Beverages, the premier wine, spirits, and beer store in East Nashville in partnership with 440 Sports. I'm Justin Graver. With me, as always, Justin Melo. Justin, we gotta wish our listeners, anyone who tuned in today, you must be trying to escape from the family or something. Happy Thanksgiving. Justin, what are you thankful for?
Yes, happy American Thanksgiving to all our listeners and viewers. I'm thankful for everything in my life. I'm thankful for good health. I'm thankful for my family and the relationships I have. I'm thankful that the Tennessee Titans are on the path to rebuilding this roster and that Cam Ward is starting to look like a franchise quarterback. I'm thankful for good food, good drink. I hope you guys have a belly full of food and a heart full of love on this American Thanksgiving Day, and maybe a drink from Sinkers Beverages to go along with it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Graver and I wanted to stay consistent. We wanted to make sure we hit you with an episode despite it being the holiday. So if you did choose to tune in, thank you so much for taking time away from the holiday to spend 30-ish minutes with us on this beautiful, beautiful day. So thank you so much, and I hope you're all enjoying your Thanksgiving.
And you know what, Justin? Ditto on all the thankful for stuff when it comes to family, friends, my beautiful fiance, who I love more than anything. But I'm also thankful for our audience. Very thankful for you guys, because without you, there'd be no Music City Audible. Thankful for Cam Ward, of course, and thankful for the future being potentially bright for the Tennessee Titans. Justin, let's get into this podcast now. And maybe you're listening to this on a Friday. And if so, we're still thankful for you. And like maybe you didn't have to get away on Thanksgiving and you had to wait till Friday. That's fine. We don't mind. But let's talk about this trait. This trait that I think Cam Ward has displayed since he got to the collegiate level of football at Incarnate Word. And it's the thing that is the most necessary trait for any player, any developmental player to have. And that, Justin, is his ability to improve. You saw it every year of college football that he played. He continuously took his game to the next level, Goes from Incarnate Word to Washington State. The defense jumps a level, but so did his performance. He goes from Washington State to Miami. The skill players and the talent around him obviously went up a level, as did the competition he faced, and he matched it. He took his game to that ultimate supreme level where he became the NCAA's all-time leader in touchdown passes. And you wonder where that's gone, because he only has 7 this year for the Titans. No, I'm just kidding. That's a lot to do with the offensive structure around him, but a little bit to do with him. And I think we've seen this season, since week 1 to now, and especially coming out of the bye, these last 2 games, I think we've really seen continuous improvement. He only has 2 games this year with a positive EPA per dropback, or overall offense EPA, and those are the last 2 games. So that improvement has continued to show through that he has the ability to get better. And without the ability to get better, especially for a guy who played 5 years in college, a lot of guys that come out after 5 years in college, they call them more or less finished products. And that's more of a conversation when it comes to skill positions than the quarterback position, where experience matters. But still, some guys have already peaked once they've been in college for that long. For a guy who continues to show that he can get better, you got to be excited about the future for Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, because if you look at this season and you take it a bird's eye view, if you will, I think it's totally fair to say that Cam Ward is just getting better and better. Now, if you wanted to get down game by game, you might be able to nitpick and say, like last week was a little better than this week. But I think gradually speaking, which is the way to approach this, he is getting better as the season has gone on. There's no doubt about it that the Seahawks game was his best game of the season, the one we're just coming off. The Texans game before that is aging really well. It wasn't a great offensive performance, but in a gotta-have-it moment, he led them on a 95-yard touchdown drive to tie that game with all his receivers hurt, like Calvin Ridley and Chimere Dike get hurt in the middle of that game. They're going to 2 tight end sets. They asked Chig to run a route that they weren't going to ask him to run because he's filling in for a receiver, and it ends up being maybe one of the best Cam Ward passes of the season that got the Titans right down to the goal line-ish in position to tie that game, which they did on one of the very next plays. So certainly, and then even the Chargers game, I came on here, like the offense was bad overall in the Chargers game, but I remember saying I thought Cam Ward was pretty decent in that game, but certainly he's gotten even better since then in the Texans and Seahawks game. So he's right where you want him to be in terms of improvement. You want to see your rookie quarterback get better as the year goes by. And I think what's really encouraging, and I say this about quarterbacks sometimes, like, there are guys that I think no matter how hard you try to ruin them, that strike me as unflappable. And I look at a guy, and I mean no disrespect to them, like a Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, like the Jets and the Browns initially tried ruining them. They had to go elsewhere.
Tried.
I mean, it certainly looked like they were trying.
That makes it sound like there was intent.
Have you seen them play football? I mean, it feels like. So anyway, they did all they could to ruin them. Those guys go elsewhere and end up salvaging themselves, right? But there are also guys who are ruined initially and are never able to recover, okay? Like, for example, and this is the third point I'm going to make, I look at a guy like Joe Burrow. He's drafted to an awful Bengals team. He gets hurt in the beginning. I think Joe Burrow is such a good quarterback that no matter how hard the Bengals tried, you can't ruin Joe Burrow. I'm getting the same vibes from Cam Ward. The Titans are not writing the handbook right now on how to support a rookie quarterback. They removed play calling from the head coach after week 3. They fired the head coach after week 6. He's had, in total, if you count head coach and play caller, he's had, 3 different people in his ear, right? It's like Brian Callahan, Mike McCoy, Bo Hardigree. When he was supposed to have just one head coach and play caller this whole year, he's had 3. So the Titans aren't writing the handbook on how to support him. But he strikes me as unflappable. And that's maybe the best trait it is the best trait you could have if you're a rookie quarterback drafted to a bad situation. And Cam Ward was a number 1 overall pick drafted to a bad situation. And despite all that, it ties in with your point, he's just getting better. And that comes down to his ability to get better. And I'm excited. I'm going to throw it back to you, and then we'll start getting into what we want to see from him in this game on Sunday that insinuates he is continuing on that upward trajectory.
And why does he have the ability to get better? Like, what does that even mean, really? I mean, part of it is a mindset, a growth mindset. Part of it is that true dedication to the craft and a relentless work ethic, which sounds cliche, but it's true when you talk about Cam Ward and how much time he puts in before practices, going in early to the building, spending time on his own. Like, they've been asking him questions like, you only get 20 minutes of individual work in a practice. Is that really enough time to work on your footwork? How do you actually find time to get better during the season? And he's like, well, it's taking advantage of the time away from the facility. It's like this guy's putting in the hours at the facility, at home, to improve the mental side, studying film, the physical side, the repetition and doing the footwork of a drop back. He continues to work on it. And that is, part of it. A lot of guys have a strong work ethic, though, but don't show the ability to improve. Part of it is just having all this untapped potential and this natural ability to keep getting better because of the way that he was brought up in the game, not going to all the high school 7-on-7, all the stuff that some of these quarterbacks do, where they get to be so refined that they're almost robots by the time they get to the college level and beyond. Whereas Cam Ward's unique journey, I think, sets him up for success because he hasn't reached that ceiling yet. He hasn't topped out. And so I think it's a combination of the way he came up in the game, his mindset, and his relentless work ethic. All of that adds together to create a player that is a creative player. Now, to create a player that has this ability to keep improving. And what we need to see from him in this Jacksonville game, I'll start broad and then we'll go specific. Broad is consistency. Can you stack these weeks? We're coming off of a Monday night game a few nights ago where Bryce Young looked terrible 1 week after throwing for over 400 yards. So that's what the future will tell the story of. Was Cam Ward's performance against the Seahawks a big blip where it's like truly just an outlier, even if it was a good outlier? Or is that the beginning of the stacking of great games after great game and being somebody who can put the offense on his back? This was really, we said it on Sunday, the first time that we think that he really carried the offense. Like he's had to carry the offense, but he didn't carry them anywhere. Against the Seahawks, he carried them 2 points actually being scored. And so I'm really excited about that aspect of what he's able to do. Can he keep doing that against the Jags defense that has 2 good edge rushers, that's been forcing a lot of turnovers, that puts pressure on you as a passer? We'll see, but this is the big first test now. You passed the Seahawks test. Now, can you be consistent? And is this really who you are on a weekly basis?
And they're coached, by the way, Jacksonville, by a defensive coordinator, and Anthony Campanile, who I think is probably going to be more of a head coaching candidate this summer than the general public realizes. They're a well-coached defense. They're aggressive, good pass rushers, couple good players in the secondary. I think they got Greg Newsome recently, didn't they? Like they traded Tyson Campbell. That was a shocking trade to me. That was mind-blowing. But Greg Newsome's a good football player. They got some good ones down there throughout the defensive side of the ball, and they're well-coached. Yeah, I mean, it really is that simple. Like the Seahawks game was so outstanding. You just want to see that ascension continue. And look, like, this is the National Football League. He's not literally going to get better every single week. Better than Seattle, better than Jacksonville. Like, that's not the way it goes. There's going to be something that comes back down here. It could be this weekend against Jacksonville. It doesn't mean all hope or all progress is lost. Like, Josh Allen doesn't get better every season. He was terrible against the Texans, right? Like, you guys know this, but there's ups and downs in this league. So as a rookie quarterback, you've got to be especially mindful of that when you're dealing with such an inexperienced player. But for me, you've really seen the light switch come on since the bye week. Better against Seattle than he was against Houston. I'm going into this hoping that we see more of the same against Jacksonville. But I think our audience is going to be surprised with some of the specifics that I'm personally looking for. When I say I'm looking for something similar, or you want to see him build on that performance, I don't think it's just the eye-opening stuff that he did against Seattle. There's actually a couple of things that I want to see that might get a lot less traction or might mean a lot less, but I think mean a lot more in the grand scheme of things, the overall picture, the bird's eye view. Before I get into some of that stuff, though, I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I just want to set the context a little bit. This is going to be one of the easiest games he's played in a few weeks, but the Jacksonville Jaguars still rank 8th overall in defensive EPA per play allowed. The Texans were number 1, so that was a very tough challenge. What?
Man can't catch a break.
No, he can't. And the Seahawks were number 5. The Jags are number 8. So at least we're getting like a slightly bit easier here heading into this game, but still a very good, well-coached defense that plays together, that forces turnovers. So with that context in mind, that this is still a big test and a tough opponent, if slightly less tough than the previous 2 opponents. Specifically, Justin, what are you looking for?
Well, I love the splash plays he made against Seattle, obviously, and I count the 6-yard touchdown run as a splash play because that was an outstanding, quick decision and great athleticism and determination and want to score that touchdown. The pass to Xavier Restrepo, sure, you could sign me up for more of those if he wants to. Like that image that you tweeted of him like mid-air and like at the side, like ridiculous. Yeah, I'll take more of that. I'll take the would-be sack that he somehow gets that ball out to Chig and converts a 2nd and 9. It's a 10-yard gain. But I don't need or realistically expect that to happen every single week, right? Like, you can't bank on the outlier plays becoming the routine because that's not how to thrive or survive on a play-to-play basis when it comes to playing in the National Football League. If you watched our film breakdown on Monday, our hour-long film breakdown on Cam Ward, and I'm going to pat ourselves on the back, you probably have watched it because we are thrilled with the view count that it's at right now.
If you're watching this show on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, or the day after, or even Saturday, you probably watched Monday's film breakdown. I'm just going to say
absolutely. But if you did or didn't, go ahead and do it now. But if you did, one of the things that you pointed out that I love to see that went pretty, probably undermentioned in this market was how good his footwork was. You noted it on one of I can't remember which rep it was specifically. You might remember because you broke down that rep, but every time he cycled through his read and he's moving his head, he's moving his eyes, his feet were I look like an idiot. His feet were shuffling. Well, look like I'm dancing. His feet were shuffling with his eyes. Like his footwork was so good in this game. And it's been a constant talking point throughout this season, right? Like a lot of times that he got himself into trouble this year, it was because he got lazy with his footwork and they weren't moving with his head and his eyes. Like he just wasn't in sync. Upper half not in sync with your lower half gets you in trouble when playing quarterback in the National Football League. It was so good and crisp fairly consistently throughout this game, the Seattle game, because it has been such a recurring issue for him. We're going to be paying attention to that footwork, baby. Let's keep that footwork on track, on schedule. And if it looks good, it's a telltale sign of a quarterback that has worked hard to improve it. And look, it's all about repetition. You're not going to improve that footwork without repetition. And you talk about the reps at the facility. You talk about how hard of a worker he is, the reps he's getting away from the facility. That's what it takes to get the footwork to a place not only that he wants it to get to, but in all honesty, that it needs to get to, because you can't have some of the reps that he had with his footwork on tape prior. So for me, I'm watching that footwork.
And the rep you're talking about was the one where he was in the grasp of a defender, falling to the side, still got the pass out to Chigakonkwo
Was it
because
really?
nobody was open as it cycles through read, nobody open, time to take off, throw the pass. He also had great footwork on the throw to Chig that was down the sideline. That was their longest pass play of the day. And I think that consistency is highly important, and the footwork, what I'm looking for is tied to that as well, but it's continuing to win in structure. Because there's a lot of guys that can come into the league and run around in the backfield and make plays out of structure. And there's a lot of guys who can come into the league and run your offense, but they can't do anything when a play breaks down. Will Levis. He can't even run your offense that well. But putting those two things together is how you become a special quarterback. That's where you get the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, the Lamar Jackson, even Joe Burrow, who people discredit his ability to play out of structure. It's elite. Did you see the touchdown pass he threw against the Titans last year when he ran around for a million years? So being able to continue to win in structure is more important than out of structure, because you're going to have fewer chances to win out of structure. Right. In structure is like a down-to-down thing. This is the consistency, having a high passing success rate where you're moving the ball. And we saw a lot more of that in the Seahawks game, where they had 4 drives that were multi-play, long, extended drives. Something they've struggled to do all season is put consistent drives together in the same game. So playing well in structure, continuing to hit those throws. He had a couple misses that we've talked about, throwing high to Tony Pollard on a screen, overshooting the honey hole shot down the right sideline late in the game. And that's okay. You can miss a throw or two here and there. I'd love to see him miss fewer throws. I'd love to see him hit a deep shot like the ones he's been missing to Elikai Manor. He didn't really even take one of those in this past game, but just continuing to win in structure, make quick decisions, and yes, playing with good footwork as you're going through that decision-making process.
I think a great example of winning within structure was that 3rd and 8 shot to James Prochet up the middle that we broke down on. We paused it, I believe. He releases that ball, the anticipation, the decisiveness to let it rip when he did, and to fit it in between those defenders. That's the perfect example of winning within structure. That's an elite, in my opinion, an elite high-level example of playing and winning within structure. I think one of the other things that we want to see, you talk about the in-structure, the off-structure stuff, but how about protecting the football? This guy has not thrown an interception in 3 straight games. I believe you've got the exact amount of passes since his last interception.
105 pass attempts without an interception.
105 pass attempts since his last interception. I want to take it a step further than that. It's not just the interceptions. The strip sacks. We've complained about losing that football on the strip sacks. We've complained about just losing the handle on the ball, right? Which happened to him twice earlier in the year that led to lost fumbles. How about batted pass? Maybe I'm taking this too far, but like batted passes at the line of scrimmage. He had 3 of them in what was that, the Chargers
Texans game.
The Texans game. It was one of the plays. Yeah, 3 batted passes at the line of scrimmage in the Texans game. That kind of ties in to the footwork and mechanics conversation, because a lot of times those batted passes have had to do with not only his footwork, but the arm angle, getting kind of lazy with the arm angle. 3 batted passes in that game. He had 0 in the Seahawks game. He did not have a lost fumble in the Seahawks game. Like, protect the football, not just the interceptions. Keep your mechanics clean and avoid the batted passes at the line of scrimmage, and try to avoid, obviously, the strip sacks, the lost fumbles. For me, I'm going to break this down to you real simple. As much as I love the out of structure stuff, you talked about the in structure. I'm going to say clean mechanics, avoid the fumbles, and avoid the batted passes at the line of scrimmage. That's the kind of baby steps I'm looking for. That tells me you're on the right track. It means you've improved your mechanics. You're improving your snap-to-snap efficiency, and that's just making you an all-around better quarterback.
Yeah, and honestly, the last thing I really want to see, a multi-touchdown through the air. Yes, I'm being greedy with it. We got our multi-touchdown game. Oh, he ran for a touchdown. No, I want to see him throw 2 touchdowns. Like, give me a box
score. I'm not greedy on it as you are, because I loved the running touchdown. It's a multi-touchdown. I didn't mean to interrupt, but to me, I loved that multi-touchdown game. Yes, I'd love to see 2 touchdown passes, because I don't want an idiot to get on Twitter and be like, he only has 8 touchdown passes this year.
That's the thing. I need him to finish the season with more than like 10 touchdown passes. He's got to get to like 15, and he only got 6 games left to throw 9 touchdown passes. He needs to have a couple of multi-touchdown games. I just want a pretty box score. Can we just get a nice box score that like reflects how well he's actually playing on the field? That's what I want. Justin, I think we should move on here and talk about a few other elements to this game that are interesting and exciting to me. And one of those is the battle between Chimere Dike and Parker Washington. These are your 2 best punt returners in the National Football League this season. The only 2 guys who each have 2 punt return touchdowns. They've also each had punt return touchdowns called back for that were flagged for somebody on the return unit. So these guys have actually scored more than 2 each. And if you ask a Titans fan who's the best returner in the league, all of you guys listening, no doubt will say Chimere Dike, obviously, as a rookie, has been the best returner in the league. But if you asked a Jags fan, a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, who's the best returner in the league, they're going to say, well, obviously it's Parker Washington, and there is a case to be made for Parker Washington. I would say Chimere Dike is arguably the best punt returner in the league, but that is an arguable point because of Parker Washington. If Dike doesn't make first-team All-Pro at punt returner, it's because Parker Washington does, right? Now, Washington has a few more returns than Dike. Dike has a significantly higher average yards per return, but this is going to be an interesting battle. I guess my point is, Justin, don't get up and go to the bathroom until after the punt in these games.
Yeah, you bring up
after the punts in this game, excuse me.
You bring up a good point. They've both returned 2 punts for touchdowns. Dike's return per average right now is significantly higher. It's 23.8. Washington's is 17.2. Of course, the 90-yard touchdown that Dike scored this past week grossly increased that average, because I'm pretty sure Washington was in first place in punt return average before this week. So Dike takes the huge lead. To be fair, we'll play devil's advocate. He's had 6 fewer punt returns. Dike's only had 12. Washington has had 18. Now, logic would typically tell you the more punt returns Dike gets, that 23.8 average is probably going to come down, and it's probably going to get him closer to Parker Washington's average, which probably is fair for how they've been, unless Dike returns another punt for a touchdown, which is well within the realm of possibility, because he's been that dynamic, that explosive. And by the way, on kickoffs, Washington does not return kickoffs with any regularity, whereas Dike's got a really good 25.7 average on 47 returns. So I think Dike has been the better special teams player, but it's fair to say that this is a fun battle between him and Washington. I think that's all the time we need to spend on that. But quickly, before we give our score predictions, there's one more thing you want to see out of Cam Ward and this Titans offense this season, and it's something we have not seen from them the entire year.
That's right, Justin. It's the meme. Has your team done this thing in 2025? And 31 teams are in the bubble. Of course, it's week 1. That thing is, has your team scored an opening drive touchdown on offense? All 31 teams in the bubble, in the circle, say, of course, it's week 12. Here's the Titans off on their own. No, the Titans have not yet scored an opening drive touchdown. And they got really close against Seattle. And as the Titans are driving down the field, the CBS crew cuts to a shot. Wait, it was the Fox. The Fox crew cuts to a shot of Mike McDonald on the sideline. And you can tell this guy's nervous as hell. Why? Because he doesn't want his team to be the first team to give up an opening drive touchdown to this Titans. And now that pressure continues to mount, they got so close. It's going to reach a point where it's like, you don't want to be that team. Just like in the NBA, when the Detroit Pistons were on a 28-game losing streak. Yeah, you remember that? And Kyle Kuzma says, at this point, it's just like, don't be that team. That's got to be how Jacksonville's feeling going into this matchup with the Titans, is like, don't be that team that allows Tennessee to score an opening drive touchdown. Can they? Will they? I'm not going to predict it or not predict it, but it would be pretty cool to see them do it after they got so close. They get all the way down to the 3-yard line last week. Can they get those last 3 yards and get in the end zone this week on that opening drive?
16-play drive against the Seahawks, that opening drive, all the way down to the 3. I blame Bo Hardegree because that 1st and goal play call was terrible. That's the one they lost like 5 yards to Tajay Spears. Made it 2nd and goal at the 14. And then Cam Ward makes a great 11-yard pass to, I think it was Van Jefferson.
Shimmeray DK.
No, it was DK. It was Shimmeray DK. Yes, it was DK. To get them into 3rd and goal on the 3, give them one final opportunity. And it was a great play call, actually, on 3rd and goal. But the Seahawks defended it even better. Cam Ward bought time. Eventually ends up going out of bounds, losing 1 yard. You know what? Like, I think they can do it, and it ties directly back to how much better Cam Ward is playing right now, right? Like, if he continues to show that improvement, that's what made them go on a 16. They converted that 4th down to Gunnar Helm. He made a ton of great plays, Cam Ward did, on that first drive to make
with
it.
With his legs.
With his leg, he made second play of the game, a 14-yard run where he fakes out the linebacker with the pump fake and ends up getting 14 yards on the scramble. And he made other plays with his legs on that drive. So I hope this is the one they put it together. Should we get into our final score prediction?
Are you bold? Are you bold? Will you be bold?
I am, as a Canadian. On this thankful American Thanksgiving, even though I'm not celebrating, I'm choosing to believe in the Titans, just like you believe in your forefathers that led to this Thanksgiving year. I believe in the Tennessee Titans, okay? I think they're going to win this game. I might look like an idiot. If they lose this game, I'm not leaving myself out, but if they lose it, it's because they can't stop the run. They've been pretty terrible at stopping the run. Jacksonville got a couple of good running backs. I think, I could see a scenario where Jacksonville just commits to the run, routinely gashes the Titans on the ground, and they win this game because they average 7 yards per carry on the ground. If the Titans lose it, that's why they're going to lose it. If they win, it's because Cam Ward keeps putting it together, plays another great game. We said it after the Seahawks game. You and I both said it. If Cam Ward keeps playing like this, they're going to win a game or two. I've got respect for Jacksonville. I think they're a very decent team, maybe even a playoff caliber team. They're going to be in that mix for like the number 7 seed, in my opinion. It's a winnable game for the Titans. On this happy holiday, I'm choosing to believe in Cam Ward. I'm choosing to believe in the Titans. Titans win it 27-24.
There is another path to failure in this game than just allowing Jacksonville to run all over you, which they've been very successful doing the last few games, and they've been winning games here recently after blowing that one to the Texans a few weeks ago, where they had a huge, massive lead and blew that game and let Davis Mills come back and beat them. The other path to a loss is turnovers. Turnovers tend to come in bunches, and Jacksonville opened the season on an insane turnover spree. And then those turnovers melted away, and Jacksonville struggled to win for a period there. And then the turnovers started to come back. And what do you know? Jacksonville's back on a winning streak again after those turnovers came back. They're currently 5th in the NFL in takeaways. They have won 2 straight and 3 of their last 4 games. If Cam Ward can protect the football, which as we talked about already, he has done better recently. Yeah, obviously the strip sack against Houston notwithstanding, but 105 straight pass attempts with no interception. He's got to keep that going. They've got to protect the ball and yes, stop the run. I want to believe I want to be where you are, Justin. I want to see life through your eyes right now and predict a Tennessee Titans victory. I'm not going to go that far. I will predict that Cam Ward continues to look good. I think that it's realistic to expect him to make a few more mistakes than he made in the last game, and that, improvement and development is not always 100% linear, and there could be some 1 step back, 2 steps forward moments, and I'm fully prepared for those moments to happen in this game, especially after last week, I think, skyrocketed all of our expectations for him. So I'm just going to continue to keep my expectations low. That way I won't be disappointed, and I think that that's the realistic way to view this game as well. So I am going to predict a Jacksonville Jaguars win, but I'm going to predict one where the Titans offense continues to show some signs of life. Let's go 27-21 Jacksonville.
Well, you're boring. It's Thanksgiving. I hope your stomach hurts because you predicted a Titans loss. I hope you ate something that didn't agree with you, and you're in the toilet right now as we speak. All kidding aside, I went Titans win. Remember it. I'm choosing to believe in Cam Ward this week. I hope everyone is enjoying their Thanksgiving, had a great holiday. Seriously, family, filled with family, laughs, good food. Mac and cheese is an elite side. I'm not even American. Mac and cheese is an elite side. I love the mac and cheese. Dessert, you can't have enough. Pecan pie is the undefeated pie, in my opinion. It's the number one on my dessert big board. I'm a huge pecan pie guy. I don't discriminate, though. I saw someone say on Twitter the other day that, I think it was Ian Rappaport, that he hates apple pie. I love apple pie. I pretty much love all pie. If it ends in I, I'm going to eat it, essentially, is my take on pie. But not everything that ends in I, because I won't eat myself. But I do love pie. I love pecan pie. I love blueberry pie. I love crumble. I'm not a big pumpkin pie guy. I think are you a pumpkin pie guy?
I love pumpkin. Give me all the pumpkin. Pumpkin spice this, pumpkin spice that. I'm eating this is my favorite time of year because there's so much pumpkin.
My Thanksgiving, I'll be honest with you, looks so different than an American Thanksgiving because I don't even think that I have Canadian Thanksgiving. I have Portuguese Thanksgiving because my family we have turkey. But my family, my parents, they'll cook a turkey in a very Portuguese style recipe to make turkey. And it's incredible. I love it. We're big on stuffing, but our stuffing looks very different than yours. I love rice. My mother makes this rice. Believe it or not, I don't know if this is going to sound weird to you.
Rice is not a Thanksgiving dish.
It is in my mom's household. And I'll tell you right now, the rice that my mother makes, it's like I gotta get you this thing is crack. I gotta get you the recipe. Butter, and then but it like a beef broth. She'll pour like a beef broth into and let it slow cook for hours. The rice comes out it's like brown. It's like a brown thing, right? It is unbelievably good, and paired with our Thanksgiving gravy. I've never tried cranberry. My Thanksgiving is so different from yours, but you would love it. I'm pretty confident you would like it. But with that said, I hope everyone's enjoying their Thanksgiving meal. Seriously, I hope if you were traveling that you were safe. I hope you're surrounded by loved ones, family, friends, extended, whatever it is, in-laws, it doesn't matter. I hope the laughs at the table come straight from the belly. I hope you're watching good football, and I hope you enjoy the Titans this weekend. Thank you for tuning in to this holiday edition of the Music City Audible. We are so thankful you decided to spend 30 minutes of your holiday, whether it was Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. It's all the holiday to me because you should enjoy the entire weekend ahead. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Graver will be back Sunday with the live stream reaction to the Seahawks game. If you watched yesterday's episode, I teased I've got a baptism this Sunday, and I'm actually the godfather. My sister-in-law chose me and my partner, Anna. Her sister had twins. Pretty incredible 6 months ago. So Anna and I are the godparents to only one of the twins. You got to pick a whole other set of godparents for the other twin. But Anna and I are baptizing one of the twins this weekend. The church starts at 1 o'clock, 1 Eastern, when football starts. I'm going to see if Father Priest will update me on the Titans game there. Anna already told me, don't you dare pull up the game in church. We'll see what happens. Until then, y'all stay safe out there. I'll be back Monday. Obviously, the baptism's not a 24-hour thing. I'll be back for Monday's episode. Graver will handle Sunday's live stream. Until then, y'all stay safe out there. Happy Thanksgiving one more time, and tighten up.
A Broadway sports media production.